Good evening. All right, we expect that we're going to have people wanting to come speak, so I'll try that again. Good evening. Good evening. All right, there you go. We're in a big facility here tonight, so we're going to be here. Hope more will be coming in to take advantage of the opportunity. I'm Larry Clark. I'm chair of the the City of Shreveport Capital Improvements Committee, and this is our third of our presently scheduled 4 community visits. It's possible we'll be adding on to the 4, but for now we have 4 scheduled. This is the third of the 4th. And we're glad to have you here, those of you from the community, to hear, but more importantly, I hope, to want to come forward and speak to us, because we want to hear from you this evening. I do not believe, I've not seen any city council person.
They're still in a meeting.
They're still in a meeting for the city council. Well, okay, so there are no city council members here. Ms. Dottie Bell is here from the school district, Caddo Schools. Thank you. And Mr. Dark will point out the city administrators who are here with him. Each city council person placed 2 individuals on the committee, and Mayor Arsenault placed 6 persons, including me, on the committee. And the members that are here with me tonight are on my left and on the right on the stage. Mr. Dark's immediately to my right, the Chief Administrative Officer. Everyone else is on the committee who's up here. The Mayor Arsenault created the Capital Improvements Committee, as I just said, with over 2/3 of the committee members being appointed by the City Council members. And I want to thank and applaud members of the City Council for the quality and diversity of the people put forward for the Capital Improvements Committee. Along with Mayor Arsenault's people, the committee is an exceptionally talented, dedicated group of citizens. Mayor Arsenault has strongly communicated to the committee of the importance of the City Council in relation to our work. We understand that the City Council has the final word on whether to call a bond election and the composition of any bond package. We are committed to bringing forward a strong, focused community plan for a bond improvements election this coming spring. But again, ultimately, it will be you, the citizens, who will vote to decide whether or not to accept what shall ultimately come before you in a bond referendum. Now, allow me, if you will, to have our members introduce themselves to you. I'll start off at my far left and we'll come across the stage, if you will, to introduce to the audience.
Mella Brown, District F.
Thank you for saying your district also. So they're going to say their district also if they're district appointed, so you'll know which districts are here tonight as well. Speak a little bit louder if you can. Because,
Can you pass the mic?
let me try this. I may get in trouble, but I'll come walking around here. Let's try this. All right.
Mella Brown, District F.
Oh, perfect.
Mavis Thigpen, District B.
Connor Peterson, member at large.
Scott Ward, District D.
Darren Dixon, District F.
I'm going to pass by Mr. Dark.
Rudolph Glass, District A.
Cedric Choice, appointed by the mayor.
Christopher Coe, District B.
Michael Lafitte, District E.
Jacqueline Sabbath, District A.
All right, you have to be versatile when you're the MC. All right, so now you have met the individuals that are on the committee. I'd now like to call to the podium Mr. Tom Dark, Chief Administrative Officer of the City of Shreveport.
Good evening, y'all. Want to welcome you to Huntington. Ms. Bell, we appreciate school opening up for us on a break week. That's very helpful. Thank you so much. She called me some name I'm not going to repeat a while ago, so I'm not going to say a word. Our secret is safe, dear. When we talk to people about bond issues, what we really want to tell them is a bond issue is a mortgage. The city is taking out a 30-year mortgage to do things that it doesn't have the immediate cash to do. And we've done this for years and years. Most of the things that you ride on or go to that are city facilities were built or are maintained sometimes out of the bond issue money that we get. most times a bond issue is paid back from property taxes. And the council has the legal obligation to assess the property taxes in the amount it's necessary to actually pay that debt. But what that means is in order to do that, the voters are asked to approve those propositions first. And one of the reasons that we're doing this is because the city tried in 2019 and 2021 to pass bond issues, and they had a total of 8 propositions, and only one of them passed. We're really trying to do better than that by listening to folks. We gave you coming in a list of all the projects that various departments have come up with. We will be adding to that anything that is suggested in the course of the meetings we have with citizens. We're working on a whole series of street estimates that will be added to all this, but this was kind of a start. We wanted to let you know what people were talking about. There are people here who can help you if your question is not, I want to build something. We have the Director of Water and Sewer and his deputy here. We have the Director of SPAR here. We have the Director of Public Works here. We have a representative from Property Standards. We have the Deputy Police Chief. We want you, if you have a city concern that is not about, I want you to build something, don't let any of those people leave. We also have people from the city engineer's office, but they're part of Public Works. But anyway, bottom line is, if there's a pothole in front of your house, or if you see something in Property Standards you need somebody to do something about, or whatever, make sure you talk to those folks before you leave. Because what we want to convey to you is that a bond issue itself is not maintenance stuff. It's not fix the pothole. It's not clean out the ditch in front of my house. It's if the whole street needs reconstructing, if you need to build a fire station, if you need to do things like that, then those are the kind of things that bond issues are for. We don't mind if you come talk to us and say, I got a problem on my street that's not that big, but mostly save that for visiting with them. They're not going to leave on you. That's a promise. We are going to be, this is the third of these. We're going to have another one on Thursday night. The committee will be trying to come up between then and probably around Thanksgiving with at least the first draft of a list that we'll present to the city council, because they have the ultimate authority. And in order to do an election in April, we all have to decide on what it's going to be sometime in January. That's kind of the way the legislative calendar works. But we want to hear from you. The committee's going to have a big job. There's always more stuff that people want to do than there is money, but we'd really like to get a sense of what your priorities might be. So we thank you again for coming, and we look forward to listening to you. I also forget, I believe I see a fire person here. Carolyn, you're hiding? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Dark. This evening, what will happen is that in a moment that we're going to offer the opportunity for you to come down and speak to us. There's a microphone that's to my left out in front here for you to come down to speak. If you provide your name, that would be appreciated. We're going to allow you 3 minutes in order to talk. We have actually not so many here tonight, so if you have to go just a bit longer, 4 minutes, we'll allow it. If we need to clarify, we'll suspend the time to clarify with you. So we're going to be hearing from you what it is that you have to say. And Mr. Dark told you that what we're looking at are major project type of things. But again, if there's something that is of concern to you, we're here as well. And he talked to you about how you can touch base with city administrators who are here potentially to help you before you leave this evening. So let's get started. And let me invite the first person who wishes to speak to please come forward and talk to us. Who's going to be first to come down? All right. The ice is going to be broken. Thank you for coming down.
I'll get the ball rolling. Thank you, Dr. Clark, for your time, and to all the volunteers, thank you. My name's Clarence Babineau, 433 Dunmoreland Circle, Shreveport, 7106. I'm a practicing architect and also a 41-year resident of Shreveport. My question is fairly simple. Had a conference call this morning with several members of the Shreveport chapter of the American Institute of Architects. And the question that's come up is really, I assume most of the list, these are projects that will require either architectural or engineering services. And I'm not here looking for a project. Fortunately, I've got plenty enough private sector clients that keep me busy. But I'm curious If the city is going to self-design or self-design any of the projects, engineering or architectural, or are they going to go out to the private sector for architectural and engineering services?
Let me turn it over to Mr. Dark.
Hey Clarence, how are you?
I'm great, Tom. Good to see you again.
Actually got a comment today on our internet solicitation for these from a member of your chapter,
Great.
asking the exact same question, so I'll try to give you the same answer we gave him. By the way, I want to welcome State Representative Cedric Glover, who is in the back and joining us. Representative, my guess is it'll be a combination of the two. You know, a lot of this is obviously streets and drainage stuff where architects at least would not be involved.
Sure.
We have done some street stuff, some building stuff in-house and some building stuff out. My guess is that will continue. The one thing that may change a little bit is that the person in SPAR who does most of our city architect stuff is getting somewhat near retirement age, and we're trying to transition some of his roles into some other stuff. So it is possible that perhaps a little more might go out than was at one point. I do know that the big stuff almost has to go out, but we just don't have a lot of it this time.
Well, there's a follow-up to my question, and the concern we've been hearing, feedback I've been getting, is there have been some snafus in the budgets. Budgets have been inadequate, and so
Welcome to the world of construction right now.
Well,
I mean, if you can do good cost estimates, would you please come see me, because we can use a few of
I'm going to
those.
suggest two things. I just completed.
Can you get a little closer to the mics?
Sorry.
You're
How
a
about
big
that?
old guy.
That better?
We're gonna raise it just for you.
There you go. Well, thank you. Okay, good deal.
I'm going to suggest that perhaps Tom or Dr. Clark or someone representing your group may attend.
Well, it doesn't always go according to
I
plan,
didn't do
does
that
it?
one. Okay, let's try it. Got it.
That'll look so good on the live stream, you know.
I would suggest perhaps that a city representative or a representative of the committee perhaps come to one of the AIA chapter meetings. We have them monthly. Typically, we have the Broadmoor Branch Library, and perhaps see what the members can do for you. I will tell you that I just completed a $200 million project for Bossier Schools, where we were program manager of a large bond program, and estimating, we had a partner, of course, in that venture, was an imperative. And fortunately, we kept things on target, and we got things within our budget. So we understand that architects get stung when the budgets are inadequate, or if they go over budget, they got to redraw at their cost. So let us partner with you perhaps and offer some help where we can. It's been done in the past. This would not be new ground. So I'm going to make that offer, and then if you want to someone wants to pick up that ball and run with it, I'll be happy to be a liaison with the chapter.
Okay, my guess is the person you really should visit with is Shelley Regal, for whom the city architect works,
Sure.
and who tends to be the sort of first lead person on most of the stuff. We obviously, if we go through with where we seem to be going, there's stuff at the Fire and Police Academy that's clearly big enough to where we're not going to want to do that ourselves. Beyond that, the lines. I'm not sure we want to do fire stations again. That's become kind of the place where you would have most likely the most complaints about what we did or did not do.
Right. Well, even the projects done in-house, the concern is if the budgets are inadequate, then a couple of things happen. The building gets smaller, the quality of the materials are lower, or something else. If there's not proper budgeting, if there's not proper contingencies, then even if we are some firm is not doing it, then we all pay for it in some fashion. So let us help you get the best we can get.
Okay, well, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
I will tell you that what we've been trying to tell people on almost every project is don't assume current numbers, period, because nothing we're talking about now is going to get built even likely next year, other than, none of the buildings anyway. And so, we're trying to tell people inflate as much as you can within reason to at least assume maybe a 2025 build date. But from what you've been doing, that the whole world of construction between 2020 and now makes no sense. The prices we are getting on everything would have been laughed out of the room 3 years ago. So
They're up 56% since the first quarter of 2020.
well, it's one of the things we try to tell people. the last city bond issue proposal was like $180 million, and that's now probably, those same projects would probably have cost $250 now, something like that.
Yeah.
And that would be if we were lucky. But I'd appreciate the offer, and I will certainly make sure we take you up on it.
Thank you.
Oh, well, you have other committee members sitting in the office. Aren't you?
And Larry Evinsky.
Hello, Brian McNew. I'm coming here as a concerned citizen this evening. I am an architect, practicing architect in Shreveport. I've lived in Shreveport all my life, 55 years, so have some concerns. Also speaking as a past board chairman of the Chamber of Commerce who lived through the 2021 bond issue election. So the concerns that I have, I guess, as a citizen and as an architect who has worked on similar projects, we, on the last bond issue as a chamber, and Tim Magner's here as well from the chamber, and he may come up and say something. As a chamber, we offered to the last administration the services of the professionals that we have as members. We offered to meet with the police department, the fire department, folks at SPAR to look at their budgets, to make sure that, they had good budgets and we could put our full support behind it, not just as the chamber, but, as voting folks and the citizens of Shreveport. So we never really got any of that information. What I would like to know is, as these budgets are put together, are they really thinking about everything with the budgets? Are they thinking about land acquisition costs? Are they thinking about furniture, fixtures, and equipment, design fees, contingencies, other hard and soft costs like your additional design fees for surveyors, geotechnical engineers, so forth? Are those included in these budgets? I see 3 fire stations and for $11 million, so around $3 million a piece. So $3.25 million. So right now, I just bid a fire station. The budget was $3.25 million, had 6 bidders on it, and it came in, the low bid was $3 million. 3-bay, 11,000 square foot station. That didn't include the design fees or the land costs. So, make sure, please, that when you ask for this money, that you have a good budget, and reach out to us who do this every day, and we will help, because we want this to pass just as much as you do. And we're here to help and have offered our services to double check these, figures. Can't say about the engineering items. I'm sure that we have plenty of engineers that are members that would help with these related things. So, but please, verify these budgets. Let's make sure that everything is good, so we're not coming back and asking for stuff that we just couldn't fund the first time. And with the fire station renovations especially, I don't know what the extent is, but new codes require storm shelters in these things. Well, if these budgets are small, a storm shelter and a fire station could impact that cost 15 to 20% to have to go in and retrofit a storm shelter inside of a fire station. So those are some big ticket items that you need to think about. But we're here to help. The design community is here to help. We want to see this thing succeed, and we want to be able to support it unequivocally. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Let me do 2 things. I'm going to let Mr. Dark speak here in just a moment about that, but let me speak on behalf of the committee. So the questions you have just asked of us are ones, quite frankly, that the committee has when we look at these numbers and we're looking to see, okay, what is it that's involved in those? Is that a good number, not a good number? And I will tell you that the sheet that's been passed out has some very strong good estimates, but they're not the final estimates of what would come forward. I also tell you that it's $350 million here, roughly, and the bond issue probably won't have these $350 million of projects. They're going to get cut down. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing as a committee, and we've asked for a number of different points of information back, not quite as thorough as what you just went down through, but we have been asking, and you're helping us to identify other things as committee members that we need to be helping to ask. And I appreciate, again, a second speaker coming forward to talk about resources within the city with professionals are willing to be assisting us and the city in particular in what we do. So I thank you both for that. And I'll really turn it over to Tom Dark again for a moment.
Well, in general, offer accepted. I mean, that's the easy part. There are, some of these numbers on the sheet are order of magnitude numbers. They are not final yet. I mean, basically what we've been doing over the last 6 weeks is trying to give the committee a sense of what we think some of these are. Some of them will change between now and December. We'd probably like to talk to you about the Fire and Police Academy. We'd probably like to talk to you about fire stations. There are some others. We have some help already in the architect community on the Public Works building, some things like that. And we have some recent bid experience on some of the other stuff. We actually have $12 million for 3 fire stations because we have $500,000 from the last bond issue. So, but we've gotten bids that, our last bid on one was pretty close to 4. Now, I think it had some extenuating site circumstances, but nonetheless, we're trying to say, okay, what's it going to be if we bid this in 25 or even 26? Are we going to be okay? So I don't think the numbers are out of line, but I do think on some of the projects that are a little more, and Fire and Police Academy probably the one that comes to mind, a little more subject to what it might really be versus what we think it might be. I think the help would be really useful. We have some professional engineers already working on, in-house on the street and drainage stuff, and those again we're using. What's the last bid price we got? But yes, I think we'd love to sit down and visit with you and look, you guys are used to being hit up for money when it's time for bond issue campaigns. Maybe we should hit you up for some information. I think that's a reasonable trade in a lot of ways. So yes, we'd be happy to do it, and don't be surprised if you hear from me or Shelley or somebody pretty soon about that. Since he's throwing things away, Ms. Bell, would you like to go ahead and speak to us?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. And I'm Dottie Bell, just a citizen. But I am the school board representative, plus I am the president of the park, our PAC, Bill Cocker Park Advisory Committee. But now, look, y'all know I've been a teacher for years, and I like things broken down for me. And I'm gonna ask some questions now. The question I'm gonna ask, number one, is all of these set in stone that you're doing? We can change, right? When you start hearing from the citizens, some things may change.
Oh, I will guarantee you things will change. And there's things, we were up at Susla for the first meeting, and there were a number of things that were talked about with streets and drainage that are not reflected here, for example. And so this is what we had before we came out to the community meetings, and we wanted to give you an idea of what looks to be the number of things that are potentially being looked at. That's why I said it'll be reduced down from that. But more importantly, from these community meetings, there'll be things added to it and different priorities made. So this is just a starting point. Mr. Dark said his people put together some hopefully good ballpark figures for an idea of a price. Okay. But again, we'll be trying to get those firmer. But yes, we will be making deletions and additions both.
Okay. Okay,
Bill,
I'm looking at.
Can I save you one question? Mm-hmm. I know you're going to ask about Bill Cockrell and the park. Please.
How you know that? I was going to ask.
Well, you need to be aware that the only reason Bill Cockrell is not on this list is that we're asking the council to vote at the next council meeting for funds for a pool and a spray ground at Bill Cockrell.
Okay.
If it turns out they say no, then it will end up on the bond issue list at some point. But because Cockrell was the one pool we couldn't open this summer because it was so bad, we thought that was a good place to start with what we could do out of some of the last of the COVID money. So, I just wanted you to know that because I know that's what you advocate for,
And I sure have
it's
it.
clearly on your list. So
It's on I marked it right there.
okay, well,
Okay.
that's just one you don't have to ask.
Another thing, that's what like I'm saying, like public safety, water and sewage, parks, all of this with the districts, all the districts, I guess it's council districts, I'm sure, because something like this going to be happening in all areas. Like for instance, I know it's no public building here in District G. I'm looking at it, okay? But if the parks gonna be taken care of, if they need it, the water and sewage gonna be taken care of, because we do have problems with the sewage, the streets, all of this, everybody gonna get some of it, right? Is that what we're saying? Everybody gonna get some of this money in a district?
It may, if you're asking if it's going to be proportional, it will not. There are some areas of the city that are in need of much more significant funds for certain things than others. For example, street and drainage is a much greater challenge in District A than it happens to be in District D, where I happen to live. And so in terms of exact trade-offs, it's not going to be that we're going to be looking to see 7 city council districts, streets 7 ways, sewers 7 ways, like that. That's not going to happen. But we are going to be cognizant, and we're going to have a bus trip that we're going to take from these community meetings, identifying what is the citizens telling us, and from the input you can make with the website, you can go to the City of Shreveport home page on the web page, and you can put ideas and thoughts there for us, and people are doing that. Collecting those, we'll try to prioritize what we'll go out to see, and that'll also help us in terms of what it is we actually put forward to recommend to the city council. So
the citizens, like I say, for instance, West Shreveport area and different areas, you will be listening, seeing what's more important in this group here.
Yes.
That's what I'm gonna know,
Yes.
because that's where you're gonna get the vote, is because there's things over here that
Right.
it's on this list, but like you said.
Right, there's more needs in the city than we can expect to go out with a bond issue
Right,
to
okay.
have the citizens vote for. So we're going to have to prioritize, but we're going to have to try to look to see what are those things that are most needed in the city and where are they? And again, they may not
first
fall exactly across every district getting the same amount. Matter of fact, they won't.
Oh, no, I'm not looking for the same, yeah.
They
Okay,
won't.
I just wanna make
I'll
sure
tell you,
that
they won't.
they'll be able to say what we needed and what we feel is more important.
We hope
And then
so.
they're critical, but it'll be considered.
If we don't, the bond issue will not easily pass. I can tell you that. We
Yeah.
have to be able to do what you're suggesting.
We have to be together, everybody had to come together on it.
That's our goal.
Okay, I understand now.
All right. Let me invite, I created a commotion because I wanted to have, we have 2 of our members that are down seated here, Mr. Evensky and Mr. Johnson. If you'd like to come up, this chair can be right here. Oh, come on up here. You're good, you're good? All right. Evensky, you can come around if you're. There's a chair right on the end there, and there's one right here. So there are 2 chairs here. And Mayor Tom Arsenault has come in. He has been to the prior 2 as well, and he has told me that he's not here to speak. He's here to listen and to hear what it is you in the community and the citizens have to say. So thank you, Mr. Arsenault, Mayor Tom, for being here with us again tonight. Sir, it's for you.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for having the meeting. And my name is Clifton Starks. I live District G, 3529 Milky Way. And it's so embarrassing, and it's real embarrassing. I heard you say that you all was gonna make a tour, but it's very embarrassing when we have company come in, traveling east into Shreveport, coming from the west, and if they get off on Pines Road, especially if we've had a rain, the sewage, it is terrible. It is unbearable. It is terrible, and I see nothing on this list about, this area, Pines Road area, but that is one we need to take that in great consideration of being the first project, because it shows a reflection on us as a city when people come in and it's stink, smells real bad. The next thing is, of course, we got some areas on Pines Road that streets that is bad that we definitely take care of, and it's one for sure that they've been repairing if you're going south on Pines Road, they've been doing a few repairs, but it's still not up to par, not up to standards. And another part that I'd like for you to look at, and that is from West 70.
Which avenue is that, sir?
West 70 on
Yes.
Pines, West 70, and you still on Pines Road, but you're leaving West 70, and you're going down to the Buncombe Road. That stretch of Pines Road in that area, you need to have your car fixed after you go on that stretch. That's how bad it is. I mean, it's so many things on my heart that I can share with you, but we need to be, I think, more precise, especially in this area, because we have a lot of work need to be done out here. Thank you.
Thank you. May I direct your attention to the list that was given out, and if you did not get it, you can get it when you, I think you did because you referenced it. There's on the back, it shows that there's $25 million for collector and arterial street reconstruction and $25 million for neighborhood street reconstruction, without identifying which those streets are in particular. So what you're helping us to look at and to know are things that would go against those dollars there. That's why they're not listed out, and that's the separate list. So the city has a list of all the streets in Shreveport, and they have a grading of the streets, and so the committee has asked that we be shown that in terms of what those are as well that we'll be looking at. But that's where streets will come by. So you're helping us this evening to have us look in particular. So I thank you for that we're writing those down. And Mr. Dark has it.
I was just going to tell you that I know absolutely for sure one of the streets that does not grade well is Pines Road from 70th on out past. It's a mess, and I know it grades quite low. And do not be surprised if it appears as a pretty high priority list. What I would like you to do though is the sewer problem you're talking about. The two gentlemen on your left, as you keep walking back, or
Put your
from
hands
water.
up for him, please.
Turn around. The two guys behind you are from water and sewer. If you got a stinky problem, for goodness sakes, don't get away without talking to them. Okay?
Right. Well, this has been a long problem, so it's not the first time that this smelling problem will be addressed. As a matter of fact, in the previous administration, when they tried to come with the bond issue, it was expressed, and we compiled a list of projects for West Shreveport. My name is Derek Henderson. I want to thank you guys for serving on the committee and giving me an opportunity to speak. I'm a long resident of West Shreveport, Pines Road area, and I stand before you to advocate for my community and to really ask you guys to really emphasize the importance of allocating a fair share of bond money towards the repair of roads and the implementation of economic initiatives in West Shreveport. The West Shreveport Pines Road area has been a vital part of our city, but we are currently facing significant challenges when it comes to infrastructure, maintenance, and economic development. Our roads have deteriorated over time, as Ms. Bell has attested to, as Clifton Starks has attested to. Furthermore, I want to highlight the potential economic growth in West Shreveport if we actually invest significantly in our infrastructure, we have a smelling problem. If you go down, travel down the Pines Road corridor at night, it's extremely dark. It's been dark forever. You cannot see. We have a speeding problem. It's like the Indy 500. If you're traveling between Jefferson Page Road and I-20, there's no enforcement. So we have some problems here on the Pines Road. If you go to Cockrell Park, you know, we need more parking at Cockrell Park. If you come to any event at Cockrell Park, people are parking down the grass. They have to park so far away. We have a lot of seniors that utilize that rec center. I think it's unfair. We need upgraded facility there. We need more recreation and more reception spaces at Cockrell Park. I mean, there's just a comprehensive list of items that we need that we do not see reflected in here, and we would like to share with whomever the representatives are from District G, so we can make sure that we can get some of those things addressed. Now, I'm going to tell you this. So we are the second, third largest, fourth largest tax base in the city. A lot of times when these bond issues come, there's not a lot of emphasis put into West Shreveport in terms of infrastructure, economic development, maintenance, growth, building, whatever you want to call it. So it's hard for us to say that we're going to come out and support a bond issue when you talk about the west side of town. Our district is vast, just like others, right? Because we go into the innermost parts of the city when you're talking about Queensboro. But when you come out to here, the Pines Road area, the western areas, it's just different. The needs are different, but you have a lot of the tax base from District G out in West Shreveport. So I just would implore upon your committee that when you guys are coming up with your list, you're making a list, that you really talk to the people who live and work in District G. We have the West Shreveport Alliance, we have neighborhood associations. We have people that have information that could really help get this passed. But if it's not included, it's going to be hard for the bond issue to pass. I'm just telling you right now. So, you know, I know some of the people are on the panel. You can reach out to myself. There's others in the communities that you can reach out to, Ms. Bell, as well as others. But we really need some attention out here. The airport is the impression that people have when they come flying to Shreveport. You get off on Monkhouse Drive or Hollywood, horrible. We are the first and last impression that people have when they come out this way. It's a horrible impression, right? And so what are we willing to invest to change the image of West Shreveport? Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. And I'd invite, excuse me, if you have a list that you would like to provide us, we'd be more than happy to receive that. And for any homeowner association group or other civic group represented, either here in District G or otherwise, we would love to receive from you things that you would like us to be considering in terms of how we best meet the needs here in District G.
Before the next person starts, just wanted to let you know, one of the projects that's on the list actually addresses the Monkhouse Drive issue. Our city engineer's office brought it to our attention, and anybody who's been to the airport thoroughly agrees. That is not a good first impression for people coming to or leaving the airport, and that is a project that I would not at all be surprised if in some form gets funded in this project. Did we get the mic fixed?
My name is Janelle Brown, and I am the president of the Twilight
Hold on a second,
Meadows.
we're coming to you. He's going to get some new batteries there, and I think that'll help.
When in doubt, try battery.
Yeah. So Mr. Johnson is here from District G. Who's the other District G representative? Ms. Calloway.
Ms. Calloway.
Yeah, she's not here. Okay.
Good
District G.
afternoon.
Good job.
My name is Janelle Brown, and I am the president of the Twilight Meadows Neighborhood Association. Twilight Meadows is located in West Shreveport. and I'm here to advocate for West Shreveport. I just want to piggyback off Ms. Bell, Mr. Sparks, and Mr. Henderson. Earlier this past summer, I did speak with our councilwoman about a swimming pool for Bill Cockerell Park, and she assured me that next summer we would get a swimming pool. I was not told that it had to go up for a vote before the city council. So hopefully the city council would vote in favor of Bill Cockerell getting a swimming pool. If not, I would definitely like to see it on this bond issue, because our kids went without any activity, a pool for Bill Cockerell Park. And also,
let me just assure you that Mr. Dark did not just say that here. When he spoke to the committee when we first began, he talked about when the SPAR presentation was made that there was a swimming pool that could end up being on their list to us, and it was the Cargill Park swimming pool, but that it was City Council that might be putting that ahead of. Yes, I'm sorry, my bad. That's Park, so he has talked about it.
Okay, we're here to advocate for West Shreveport. Also, my neighborhood, our previous councilman assured us that our streets will be resurfaced. Well, that has never happened, and I'm here to advocate for this committee to please look at our streets in Twilight Meadows, District G, because we're definitely in need of renovating our streets. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson's very familiar with that, who's on our committee, so that's been received. Thank you for coming forward to share that. And we also welcome, again, if you want from your neighborhood association to submit something to us separately, we'll be glad to receive it. Next person to come forward, please.
So who and how, who's going to be responsible for getting the information? Like, who can we directly?
Come on to the mic. So you're going to ask who's responsible for. Go ahead and finish the sentence.
So who is it our representative that's going to be responsible for collecting the information or our concerns? Like you keep saying, like email.
So the information is coming by the city's website, comes to the CAO, the Chief Administrative Officer.
So we need to direct. So we need
right,
to email
and
Tom Dark.
he's collecting and bringing to us. And so, but again, each of us who's here, the citizens, we're also hearing and collecting things which we'll be bringing in as well.
And I'm assuming Tom's email address
making
is
it
on
work
the
the best, it would be bringing it into a central point here so it's gathered, so it can be logged, so we know we have it as a committee, and then we can receive it.
So Tom's email is on the city website.
If you get on the city website right now, there is a pretty prominent thing that says, if you have input, click here.
Okay.
And those come straight to me, and I think we've gotten about a half a dozen, and I answer them the day I get them and then keep up with them, make sure that whatever is suggested is actually put in the list. So anything you've got, please send it. If you want to send it directly, my email address is tom.dark@shreveportla.gov.
Gotcha.
So, I'll take anything that comes in. But yeah, what I'm trying to do, I'm sort of the keeper of the master list right now.
For sure.
So I'm trying to, as we listen to people and as we talk to our own folks in-house and modify some of the stuff we've been working on, I'm trying to, at some point in the next few weeks, try to have a list. So, okay, this is everything somebody suggested. And some of that we're going to go look at. Some of it we'll, probably just have to, take the engineer or the SPAR person's word or whatever, because the committee in a morning or even most of a day couldn't get everywhere. But we're going to try to make the list as representative as we can. Again, to the lady that just spoke, you do need to speak to the folks from Public Works before you leave. Make sure that if the street problem you have is just plain old maintenance and we hadn't done it, that we can get somebody out to work on it. If it's bigger than that, then we need to get it on a list, okay?
So let me ask you this. So will a list of, you guys are going to make a list of projects that you suggest. for the bond proposal prior to it being presented to the council for consideration. Will
Correct.
that list be made to the public prior to you submitting it to the council, so then we could at least have some idea of what's going to be presented? That way I can call my council person and say, hey, listen, there's not enough in here for District G, or there is enough in here for District G. We want you to either support this or not. So will we have privy to the list prior to it being presented to the city council for consideration?
We'll be trying to do that in a couple of different forms. One of them is the thing we have not really done yet, is to say, okay, not only here's the list divided out by council districts, and then there's some stuff that's just plain citywide. I mean, Police and Fire Academy may be located in a district, but that's not really, that's a city benefit. There's some water main projects that are clearly, they're located in a district, but they're for everybody. But for the specific, the streets, the drainage, the parks, stuff like that, we're going to be dividing those so that people will be able to see, okay, here's what's in G. And some of them overlap, but yeah, we're going to do that.
So I have one other question. In regards to the pool, now, are you guys proposing with this money that's left over from COVID, is that to replace or repair the pool?
It's actually a replacement, but it's sort of an interesting replacement. We want to build public pools differently than what people used to build. If you go someplace now, if you go to one of our pools now, the shallow end isn't big enough and the deep end's too deep. And a lot of what they're talking about is actually pouring a new one inside the guts of the old one and then replacing all the equipment.
Correct.
But what we see on a lot of the pools is that if you've got little kids there, it's hard to have fun with them because it gets deep real fast. And if you can't swim, then it's even more complicated because you're worried about, people don't build pools with diving boards and all that mess anymore. You don't really need a pool anymore that people can't stand up in all the way to the end. So that's the kind of thing. And if you want to talk to Shelley a little bit more about what they have in mind.
And lastly, is that for a pool and or a spray park?
No, that is for a both.
Both. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And we need a walking trail. We need a new walking trail at Cockrell Park. I'm adamant about my area, right? If you go
visit
over
with
there,
Shelley about that one.
So our amenities does not reflect the community, right? And so my wife and I, we've invested in West Shreveport. We plan on living in West Shreveport for a long time, right? And so we taxpayers, we volunteer, we give back to our community. Unfortunately, we've not seen the kind of return on investment in terms of our tax dollars and things coming back to West Shreveport. We've been neglected in so many ways in West Shreveport, and people have this concept that we don't need a lot or we don't require a lot in West Shreveport, and that's just simply not true. We are the gateway to the city, so we are the first and last impression that people have when they come into Shreveport, when they leave into Shreveport, be it by car or airport or whatever. And so I'm just imploring on you. I know you guys are just doing this project, but the leadership in the city, we really need to have a significant investment in West Shreveport if our city is going to grow, strive, and thrive. Thank you.
Can you before you get away, you said a walking trail at what park? I wanted to make sure.
At Cockrell.
Oh, okay.
I live in West Shreveport, so I advocate for West Shreveport. So Cockrell Park needs a new walk. We need new parking. We need a new walking trail. The rec center, the gym, the weight room at Cockrell Park is deplorable. The equipment is rusting out. It is dated. It lacks so much, and the people out here just deserve so much more, in my opinion. And so I really hope that we get it right with this proposal, because what we are good at West Shreveport is doing is organizing, and we can get some petitions, and we can either vote some stuff up or we can vote some stuff down. And I don't mean that in a threatening way. I mean that in a practical way, because if this passes and it's not done right, then who knows how long it's going to be before we're able to get another bond issue to address the needs of the city. So you guys have a monumental task before you, for sure. I don't know if you're not asking for enough money. Ask for what you need. and be able to tell the people what you need and let us decide if we want to go up and support it or not. Don't under ask, don't over ask, but just tell us what it is that you think that we need based on the information that you've gotten from these meetings, so then we can go out and advocate with you or not based on what's in the final proposal. Thank you.
And as you walk away, I want to tell you, we might be here all night if there were 100 of you, but I frankly wish we had more folks like you.
Well, people have things to do, but it is what it is.
Two things. Can you come to Mike, please, Ms. Bell?
I need to piggyback on something that, okay, I'm looking at like the park improvement and lighting. Okay, that is a citywide thing. But if we, like for instance, and Shirley works good with us because I am the president of the Park Advisory Council. She works good with us. Whatever she can do, but what she can't do, it has a bond. And one of them was the parking. And to show you how great Bill Cocker is always busy. Everybody trying to rent it out to do this. It's the same thing like Huntington High School. Everything that happens comes to Huntington, and I love it, every meeting. But what I'm saying, is it possible that when my group meet, in which we meet in Thursday, too, Shelley, we need to talk to you Thursday. My group is meeting Thursday, the park, we meet once a month on the first Thursday. The reason we didn't meet this time is because of the fall camp for the babies. But anyway, I'm going to ask them what we need. We know we need parking. That is something the city can't do. That's in a bond. If you go up to Bill Cochran, it's parked, and it's like he said, even when we have a big basketball game, the cars are all the way down, and there's a ditch. There's a ditch that separates over that bridge, and people are parking everywhere. So I'm saying, if this one of the things that my group will ask, do I need to send that list in, what they want for the park improvement?
Please get the input from your group, and please do submit it. And again, to Mr. Dark directly. With the city, you go on the website, but yes, if it's something more than a suggestion, then probably submitting it directly to Mr. Dark would be the best way to do it.
Yeah, because Shelley always let us know what extra money to do and what the city can do.
Sure.
So I'm just saying, that's something like the park and lighting, we need that. Okay, so we will have a list for you because we're going to meet Thursday next week.
All right, now I'm going to have to hold you to
So another thing that we need out here, municipals around the country started to build food truck parks. We have such a problem attracting economic development out in West Shreveport just for whatever reason. I think that if we had a really good food truck park here, that will address some of the issues that we have in terms of a variety of restaurants and family things to do out in West Shreveport. I'll send you some links from around the country where they've actually gone in and built these pavilions.
Do you have a suggestion where that pad would be for a food truck park?
Well, we could always put it in Cockrell Park. I'm just West Shreveport. I don't know. I'm not a city engineer, but I do know that there's a need for it out in West Shreveport, right? And so maybe we can have some kind of partnership with local restaurants where they can have food trucks out here to give that kind of variety. We do not go on Uri Drive. Restaurants and businesses are closing on Uri Drive because people don't like to go out there, right? I want to be able to workshop and invest in my own area where I live. And so I think that that's an answer to some of the problems that we're having in terms of the traffic over there, the options over there. I think you could bring some stuff out west. We have the income, we have the tax base, we can support it out here. We just need the investment from the powers that be. So that's just something else that I had written down, but I forgot. Thank you. A food truck park in West Shreveport.
Food truck park
in West Shreveport. It could be out in Cockrell, right? We'll find somewhere to put it in Cockrell with the new park and the new rec center.
Thank you very much. Let me clarify one other thing. When the list that you have tonight is the same list that we began with when we were at Susla last Tuesday and at LSUS last Wednesday. We haven't made changes. Well, Ms. Bell was one of the original early speakers, asked about changes. The reason we haven't been making changes is because we wanted to look exactly the same at all 4 community meetings, so they wouldn't be saying, well, where did the change happen here or there? Let me also say one other thing. I don't think there's any question, that we've heard you about in terms of the need for the investments in this district. We certainly heard it when we were at Susla, and some of the some of the historical reasons for lack of funding in District A for some things that need to happen. But I would tell you that one of the problems for everywhere in the city where we go out, and each of us keep hearing from people from all around the city besides at these meetings, is the fact that we have to go back to 2011. Representative Glover is far back in the room, and it was during his administration that there was $175 million worth of bond referendum matters passed. They passed, and they were for water and sewer, police, fire and SPAR, streets and drainage for $175 million. But there hasn't been a comprehensive bond package that's passed since then. There have been 2 more offered to the community. They didn't pass. We had one proposition in 2021 in Mayor Perkins for public safety, and that included police substations, which there's not enough funding to complete that out of that bond issue. And so there's that passed, but there were 5 propositions and only 1 passed. In 2019, there were 3 propositions for $185 million. None of those passed. So the needs that are here in Shreveport are significant. In every district, they're significant. That doesn't mean proportionally that they aren't perhaps more needed here, and that's what we're going to have to be looking at. The same things we found when we were in District A. So we're going to have to look at proportional need. But I would tell you that the lack of bond issues having been passed is a challenge of which we're working with as a committee. Okay, who's next, please? Good evening to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a citizen of District G, and I just want to piggyback on everything that's been said, but if we could at least have the roads taken care of and the stench that these gentlemen are talking about. I live in this area, and we're talking about on Pines Road. We're only what? In regards to Pines, we're only maybe about 8-9 minutes from the Texas border.
Yes.
And people coming in, and it's them. And Pines Road, exit 10 is the first exit. And we're talking about the first impression of what the city is. Of course, they can drive through to Bossier or whatever, but the first impression of what this area looks like and the city. And so with that said, you have trucks. We have Pines Road and Buncombe, as the gentleman was saying earlier. We have a lot of traffic that comes through here that gets off on the Texas exit or whatever, and the roads are just horrible. Our roads are horrible. So if you could just, the citizens of this area, I think the citizens of Shreveport, of Caddo, they just need to see something done once this if the bonds pass. People, and rather than holding the money for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and by the time you hold the money, everything else has gone sky high, and therefore you're telling us you need more bond money. But people just need to see something done in the city, and especially as, like I said, the entry point of this area. And not only that, last but not least, and when we get the streets done, can we please use some good material? Nothing personal, but the streets, the streets on Pines Road, every time it rains, someone come and they have to fill the potholes. Nothing personal, but I wonder if they're filling it with sand. I want to get out there and fill the potholes myself sometime. We need to use quality material. I don't care if we just fix one road in the city. Let's please just try to fix that road or street so you won't have to come back and do it. But citizens of the area, and especially in this area, before bonds can be passed, people need to see that the committee cares. And I'm not talking 2, 3, 4 years. People need to see that the city cares, and it needs to be like immediate or as soon as possible, not 2, 3, 4 years. That's it. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. I'll tell you that these committee members on my left and my right are amazingly invested in this process and trying to learn. And we may not get all of it right in terms of the priorities, but it won't be because we're not going to seek to try to do what you've been challenging us to do. So thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Tim Magner. I'm the president of the Chamber, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the Chamber. And I want to just, we represent about 1,100 businesses. That's about 60,000 people here in town. And so we're keenly aware of the financial implications of a bond issue. At the same time, we also recognize that we have to pay for what we use. We have to pay for the streets and the sewer, and we have to do that at a level that keeps them well for our community. We also know that we haven't made good infrastructure investments for decades, and that has exacerbated the problem. Our problem is now larger than our ability to be able to fix it in one fell swoop. Correct. And so we've got to be able to figure out how we manage this. We also, unfortunately, we missed an opportunity, I think, with a lot of the federal dollars that have come down the last several years. We didn't invest those in infrastructure dollars. So we've got a confluence of factors. We've got chronic underinvestment. We've got ongoing population decline, which impacts our tax base. We've got fiscal resource constraints. We have a waning trust in government and its ability to use the funds and to be able to do that, and palpable anger in some quarters about historic neglect. So we have a confluence of factors here. At the same time, we applaud you and the committee and the administration for taking this tack. We think this committee is well led and well constructed, and we appreciate your willingness to engage with the community in this way. But if you look at the potential projects, even just the potential project list, that I think helps make our point. If it is both comprehensive and insufficient. If we funded it exactly as it's written, it would be the largest bond issue ever, and that wouldn't address all of the problems that we have. So we have to figure out a way to prioritize, and we have to be transparent in how we do that. The pursuit of these projects must be done based on need, irrespective of which part of the community they are in. We need to be able to understand there are things, we may want to do a fire station, but a water treatment plant may be more important. We may want to do a tennis court, but streets or drainage may be more important. And so I think what we would like to see is that the Bond Study Committee prioritize the projects, not by section, but as a single list. What is the most important thing that the city needs to do? And the next most important thing that the city needs to do. We know that there are wants, but we also know that there are needs. And so that need-based approach, irrespective of which district that it's in, we think is an important approach because it does a couple of things. First of all, is it creates a hierarchy so people can understand the broad need in the community. Secondly, if we have an expectation of when those projects are completed, we also know that some of them are in various stages. Some of them are in a planning stage. Some of them are shovel ready. Some of them will take decades to do. Some of them will take years. So an understanding of what that is, so we have a sort of a 30,000 foot view of what the entire scope of the projects could be. And then look at how that funding plays out. I know Mr. Dark has talked about the idea of staging or segmenting the bond funding so that we can create a series of projects. We're not doing that all at once. And if we're able to do that, we believe that will go a long way toward building confidence in the administration and in the city's ability to deliver on these projects. a sprint of shovel-ready projects that happens early in the administration, or early in the administration of this bond, we believe will help inspire confidence in the administration's ability to deliver on the promises that it makes to the citizens. If the administration and the committee recommend that we have an initial tranche, and then until those projects are done, we don't go out for more, it gives us a chance to identify projects that are done, to celebrate that success, and to build that confidence that we think is necessary in order to go further. Because we know there are going to be future bond issues. And so, as Chancellor Clark so amply demonstrated, we're 0 for 2 at the moment, or 1 for 8, depending on how you're counting. And that, I think, is a challenge for us as a community. And as a community, therefore, we have to come together. The Chamber stands ready to work with you to help build this prioritized list, so that we know that takes a lot of planning up front, and we know that it's going to take a lot more effort up front. But we believe that working together, we can build that list and create the kind of positive support that's going to be necessary for us as a community to come together and fund our future. So thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Magner, thank you. This is, so the audience knows, this is your third meeting to be, so you've been to all 3, and I appreciate that the Chamber is choosing to hear from the citizens as we are to gauge what those needs are. So thank you for choosing to do so. Representative Glover, you spoke the other night when we were at Southern University, Shreveport. Would you care to make any comments? No. You made some good comments. Other speakers to come forward. Other speakers. Let me take a moment and let me turn here. I mentioned to you that we have a District G representative here, and Mr. Thomas, anything you want to address? You're helping.
We will be having meetings with District G neighborhoods. So Councilwoman Bowman has appointed myself and Cassandra Calloway as the District G representatives, and she has asked us to hold additional meetings for District G neighborhoods and neighborhood associations. So as we're finalizing our public meetings as a committee, we will be having additional meetings with District G residents before we make our final decisions as a committee. So stay tuned for that information.
Let me offer for anyone else here who's on the committee who would like to come forward. One of the problems of these town meetings is that I'm doing too much talking, and my fellow colleagues, they're not being heard from. Is there anyone who would like to come forward? Any perspective that you wish to share, perhaps that could help, or anything that you want to mention? Anyone? Please, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Cedric Choice. And as I look at this bond issue that we are talking about, my concern is that we've gone around this is our third meeting, and citizens are not really out to hear what's going on, and my plea is that the citizens need to get engaged. Let me say that again. Citizens need to get engaged. A lot of times when things are presented to us, we sort of depend on someone else to tell us what's going on, and the information may not be correct, and we make up our minds to vote a certain way even before we know all the facts. So I would ask that the citizens get engaged. And as far as this committee goes, and I don't know how this would work, I would say even after we come back with our proposal and it gets voted on and placed on the ballot, and if it's approved, I would still say citizens need to be engaged. You need to know what's going on, and I hope there'll be a way, and I'm going to advocate for this, that the citizens will be made aware of what's going on with these projects, when they're starting, when they're going to be completed, and some of these things are going to happen down the road, but I would hope that we can get something going right away with some of these projects, because there's a real need. And we don't want to get to the point where we have to boil water every day or can't drive down the street without breaking an axle. So I would ask the citizens to get engaged. Find out for yourself what's going on with the bond issue, because there are some real needs here in Shreveport. Thank you.
Thank you for offering those comments. And I will say that when Mayor Arsenault, Mr. Dark, and I sat down and talked as I was coming on board, agreeing to be chairing this, that the mayor was very, very clear that wanting the citizens' input, but also the fact that citizens will be able to track what's going in transparency. And the advantage of Mayor Arsenault coming in as mayor is he's had 2 terms as a city council, of which he was very strong and a good city council member, to understand the process, understand what it needs in terms of the communication you're talking about, not just before it goes to the council, but along the way and then afterwards, the accountability. And I think to you, that'll be something that Mayor Arsenault will speak to ultimately, but I think that that will be the commitment. But what I've heard of him saying matches up with what you just hoped would happen. So, but it's up to you, the citizens, to make sure it happens. Any other person from the committee? Any other person from the audience? Because I'm getting ready to end the meeting. So I'm just giving you the warning that I'm going to be ready to end the meeting. If there's anyone else to speak, come forward. Not seeing anyone. Thank you for choosing to come here and being with us this evening. This can only work if the citizens are involved. You chose to be involved. Thank you for being involved. Thank you for coming out here and being here. And again, you still have the opportunity to give us input. I encourage and urge you to continue to provide input to us. We're here to receive it from you. Thank you again for being here. Committee members, thank you this evening for being here as well. Good night. Good evening.